Cottman, Crawford, and the Jersey Guy podcast.
Hey everybody, Kenny Cottman.
Lewis Crawford.
And I'm Tom Ramage, the Jersey Guy.
Yo. What's up, gentlemen?
What's going on?
Hello
What's
there.
going
How
on?
are you?
Yeah, how's everybody going? Doing good?
Very good. Yeah, very good.
Welcome
Thanks.
back.
Thanks for having me back again.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
my
Third
pleasure.
time.
Yeah.
So,
Third time is a
getting
charm.
my jacket soon. I get my
Yeah.
number
No.
3 jacket.
Yeah.
Start with a t-shirt. Start with a
Yeah.
t-shirt.
Yeah, we'll do the t-shirt first.
No, we're going to get you a t-shirt.
So
I'll
he's
have one
here
the
for
next
a
time
third
you come.
time.
Yeah.
So welcome, sir.
Yeah. I'll have the t-shirt for you next time.
All right.
Yeah.
For the 4.
We're going to have to
With
get
a 4,
some
yeah,
made.
4.
Eventually, we'll have to
Yeah,
do
no.
that.
Yeah, nope. I have somebody. I'm going to turn him on and
Yeah, we'll figure it
there's
out.
more in that stuff. Yeah. And before we start, I just remembered. So today is my younger son's birthday, Andrew. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Andrew.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
And then my daughter's birthday is on Monday the 16th. So happy birthday, big girl. I love you.
There you go.
Yeah. So my kids are old as hell.
So, oh yeah.
I'm loving that.
Wow, yeah, that big, mine too, bro.
Yeah.
Well, you got the real old kids, right?
Yeah, I do. Thanks for reminding me of
No,
that.
I mean, yours is 16.
I do appreciate it.
No.
I got a 20 and 17. But
No. My daughter is going to be 28.
Oh, 28. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying that her birthday's
Oh,
on the
16th.
16th.
On the 16th.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Not
My son
16th.
Andrew,
Okay.
he's 26.
They got a bunch of virgins.
So I'm the oldest
Yeah.
one here, and I have the youngest kids, is what we're saying.
Yeah. I wanted to get them out the way.
So
Yeah, well, yeah. But
Okay.
you're not the oldest one. You're the youngest one.
I'm the youngest.
Yeah, see? Oh, the boogie to baby. Yeah. Yeah. So it's good, gentlemen. Everything else is gravy.
Everything's good.
Talk to
Everything's
us,
good on
Lou.
mine.
What's our today's topic?
Yeah, today's topic is going to be on narcissism, right?
Dun, dun, dun,
Because
dun.
you know, we know somebody,
Mhm.
we see it every day. Obviously, we're not going to go and we're just going to
Right, no,
generally
we know
talk
people.
about it, right?
Yeah. We know
So
people who
we
are
don't want to
narcissists
get
so much of-
crazy, but people will know.
Right. So now, so now, here's the thing. Professional definition of narcissism.
So it's NPD, right?
Oh, wait, you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what I'm asking.
but
I know
yeah,
some people
yes,
use it.
Yes, it's NPD.
what's
yes.
colloquially, they
Yeah,
use
it's
it
NPD.
to describe someone who's egotistical. but
Narcissistic
yeah.
personality
Right.
Yeah,
disorder
yeah.
is the official name for it. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I know people use it, just like if someone's egotistical, that person's a narcissist.
yeah,
But
yeah, it's-
there's a distinct.
It's a little bit more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
it's like when somebody's sad and say, "Oh, they're depressed," where clinical depression is just a bit more than being sad.
Yeah.
Right.
So, having NPD is a little bit more than just being a little self-centered and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
Okay. So narcissist is just about they're basically just about themselves.
it's an overvalue, an extreme overvalue of yourself, of your accomplishments, of your worth. It's a need to surround yourself around important people, to make yourself the best.
Look at me, look what I
the
did.
Best. We have the best, the best and the
Yeah.
biggest, and
Right.
and
Nifty.
And there
everything
is
will be great.
there is an upgrade from narcissism, right?
so-
Malignant narcissism, right?
Seriously? Is there?
Malignant narcissism, is that like a term?
Now you're throwing me trick questions.
Okay, sorry.
I was
Well,
intrigued on this.
Let's look it up. Somebody look it up on their phone and check it out.
Certain people, some
So-
public figures who are
Right.
like over the edge with it.
yeah.
I've heard the term malignant narcissism.
Okay. All right. All
Which I
right.
think it's mixed with antisocial personality.
Absolutely.
Or antisocial behavior.
Yeah, well, if you're separating yourself
Yeah,
from
yeah.
everybody,
They try
because
too
you're so
freaking
much
hard,
better.
too.
You're so much better than everybody. You're so much greater than
Yeah,
everybody. Some would say that you are the best that there's ever been. If those are your beliefs, then
Right.
then yeah, you're kind of separating yourself from reality and the world and the people around you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I thought it was a good topic because not only is something we know and we see every day when we're, listening to the whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But we know people in our lives.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we know people and people who know people, or people that we may have worked with back in the day. Who knows? But the fact of how people think like that, you know what I mean? Was there something that happened? Was there any kind of trauma that? Or was it just the way they were brought up, or the combination of everything, I guess, in life?
Well, I mean, if you look at just you look at the whole where narcissism comes from Narcissus, right? From the Greek mythology, it was this was the prince who fell in love with his image,
right?
He kneeled to a pool of water to get a drink and saw something just so beautiful that he could not take his eyes off of it and fell in love with it and died as a result of being in love with his own beauty. So I mean, there are people that there's who just they're so enthralled with themselves that they limit themselves from being able to be a part of society and be reality based. So and where does it come from? It could come from a need to bring themselves up because nobody else did that. If you're coming from a really dysfunctional family and no love and no esteem is going there, you kind of create that environment for yourself. Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah. I mean, I would think, just professionally, I would say that, our behavior comes from, we learn our behavior.
Right. It's learned
different
behavior.
events in our lives.
Right.
And how we process this. Sometimes we process things really healthy and other times we don't.
Right. Yeah. It's when you know people. Now, I have people in my life, but it's to the point where I love the one thing that they like to try to do is to, when they have caught with something or they're proven wrong, they turn it around and they put it right back on you because you're the reason why it happened, kind of thing. You know what I mean? That whole mindset that they can't even accept the fact that they made a mistake or they fucked up or they were wrong. Yeah. So now they have to turn around and go, it's really you. That's why, because of you or whatever their excuse might be. Am I wrong about that, Steve?
Well, my question, I'm sorry. I mean, because my question would be, is that narcissism or is it something else?
I mean, that sounds a little bit more like borderline personality, but
denial.
A lot of denial, a lot of blaming. Not taking responsibility. I mean, the narcissistic person would never admit that they did something wrong.
Right, of course.
So
that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
that's why I say they would.
Always, no matter, they wouldn't even get into a discussion with you that they were wrong. It was just they're right. You don't understand. You're
right.
You can't fathom what I'm telling you because
you're not as smart as I am.
Smart as I am because I'm the smartest man in the room. So I keep giving away hints.
No, it's all right. It's okay. We're being good. We're being good. So what we're trying to do, people here, obviously, we're trying to be not being politically correct, because we're not looking to make it that kind of conversation.
So usually with narcissism, is it usually like there's a lot of manipulative behavior, gaslighting,
absolutely,
stuff like that?
Hey, you're viewing yourself as you're overvaluing yourself, your role in something. I was trying to think of some just simple examples beforehand, and it'd be the kid, the guy who played over 40 softball. And talked about how he played professional baseball, and how they were I was a great athlete and a super athlete, and I hit, I led the league in home runs and all that. But all he did is play. He played a Sunday morning beer league for 2 years and had a couple of home runs. But he talked about himself like he was in the Hall of Fame.
Like Kramer, who went to karate class and he was fighting the kids. Exactly. This is exactly right.
Right. Well, but then it would be him later on telling about how he was a black belt in karate. And there was the time when he defeated a whole class of black belts and things like that. Yeah, he was just kind of overvaluing and misinterpreting what he actually did.
Right.
Yeah. So
I had a friend who I believe may have been, but everything he did was the best. No one else was better. So we were in high school. He had like a Blazer, and he's like, "Oh, Blazers are the best cars. I'll outrace anybody." And then he got like a Jetta, and he's like, "Oh, I raced a Corvette and I won in my Jetta." And he just like, "Oh, Jettas are the best cars. German engineered cars are the best. Everything's the best. Everything's the best that he did."
And you have to be careful when you're diagnosing somebody with things. I think we as people we throw around those. Throw around terms real easy, like I said, like this person's depressed, or they're suffering from anxiety and things like there's clinical definitions of things, and then there's just like the layman's interpretations of something. If somebody's if there's a lot of low self-esteem and somebody has to build themselves up because they have the best car and the best house and the best clothes and the best they do all that stuff. They do what they need to do to make themselves to build themselves up, but But the true narcissist would just everything is just everything from not just the cause
it's everything.
Everything
it takes over their entire. It's their entire. Well, it's their personality. So it's
my toilet it flushes better than anybody's. So.
It's the best toilet in the world.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, now I never thought about.
If I had a Toto, I would say it was the best toilet in the world.
This guy.
If I had a Toto, but that's
But would that be something that you would call bullies? Like our bullies,
a narcissist could be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Again, I mean that's a word. I mean, we all.
Or is that just a separate thing?
Bullies. I mean, I think the term bully gets thrown around
way too
incorrectly.
Easy. Right.
Bullying is when you're in front of somebody, you're shaming people, you're making them do things that they don't want to do.
Okay, fair enough.
Making them feel a certain way.
Putting them down because
they
come from a certain place, or
so it's not. I can not want to play with you because I don't like you. That doesn't mean I'm bullying you. It just means I don't like you.
Right.
But if I say no, we can't play with Kenny because he smells and
he does sometimes.
That's picking, that's bullying on you. So it's probably is it true?
Once in a while.
Now, do people? I didn't hear you ask before. I'm sorry. Did people develop? I guess we'll say narcissism, or is it just
learned behavior?
Yeah, is it a learned behavior? Is it something that they just develop because of an inferiority complex kind of thing?
Why can it be both?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it could be
I want to make
both,
sure.
So.
I want to make sure so I don't
well, that was what I was trying to say earlier. Like, did something happen earlier in their life to lead them to be the way they were? Obviously,
and it could be your upbringing. If you're brought up in a family that's always telling you, again, we want to praise our children and let them know that they're worthwhile and everything. But if you're
a lot of competition,
but if you're never correcting your kid that did something wrong, or you're rewarding them for you're making things extremely special when they're not.
Right. It's over exaggeration.
Thank you. Over exaggerating their accomplishments. Right. I mean, that's what narcissism is over exaggerating your accomplishments. So, if your parents are buying you presents because you colored in the lines, at 5 years old or whatever, and then they just keep on that behavior as you get older and older.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to think that everything that you do is special. And listen, I think we all love our kids. Our kids are all special, but they're special to us. They're not special to
everybody. Right.
Yeah. What they do is not always. It's not always great to everybody else. It's just regular kid stuff. So
I hear a lot of terms thrown around here and there on the internet, like overt narcissism and covert narcissism. Are those things, or that's just like street terms?
What would be a covert narcissism? Like your special forces and.
See, we didn't prep them for all those ones.
You guys didn't prep me.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I hear covert narcissism is where they're just not overt about it. Like, they're not like
just like throwing things in. Little examples of a little praise, little sneaky praise about how great they are and stuff like that. And then there's, the overt is the obvious one. You're just basically coming out and saying how wonderful you are and how you're the best at everything, and nobody's better than you. Nobody's ever been better than you.
Because I know there's a lot of TikTok channels and people doing stuff and, saying things, but I don't know if any of them are like legit,
I mean, I watch very little TikTok.
Or Instagram. It
gets a little crazy.
But you know what the thing is? If you like one video about someone talking about narcissism, then the next as you're scrolling through 10 videos, and if you like that one, then you got 20 videos.
Right.
Yeah. Your whole feed is
and then it's half of it is.
Listen. We want to talk about narcissism. TikTok and Instagram is
all day.
That's our fuel for narcissistic behavior nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is about likes and
well, that's what I'm saying.
Post something and because how many likes am I going to get? And
right. And they're looking in the mirror and always checking themselves out and all that.
There's someone posting
it's okay to do that, but when you're doing it all the time,
basically people just post in videos because they think that they're attractive.
Right.
Whether they are or not is irrelevant. But that's the purpose of posting.
Right.
Okay, so then now here's the next question for that. People, is it really that they're narcissists? Because if you get a certain amount of likes on social media and you get to that status, you now get paid for it. So then would that be narcissism? Or would that be
could be both?
Trying to get a job.
You could have been doing it for narcissistic.
Listen, we're in
That's what started you to do it.
We're in a social media society nowadays, where everything is like, even this podcast,
right?
I mean, like you guys came up with a podcast, like, hey, people want to hear what we have to say, right? Now,
right.
your podcasts are really interesting and they have great topics and wonderful guests, but it's really,
of course,
it's just about,
especially when they're on 3 times.
But it's like, hey, people want to hear what we have to say. We want to talk. We want to share our message. Yeah. Is that? I don't think that's narcissistic behavior. It's just, we watch TV shows, we watch stuff, but just social media is just all about self promotion. Right. That's what it is. And I guess that can be a form of narcissistic behavior, not your classic one, because people profit from it. It becomes their jobs. I mean, because in that case, right, any actor or actress would be a narcissist. Any musician, any athlete would be that. But it's not always about that. Sometimes it's just about talent and doing what you like to do. And it's.
I just looked up covert. Narcissism. Vulnerable narcissists are more sensitive and insecure than grandiose ones. They may feel entitled, but also feel misunderstood, anxious, and self-conscious. Their narcissism is often more subtle and can manifest in passive-aggressive behavior and feeling of victimhood.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if any of these are colloquial terms.
If you're
the therapist, so,
if you're a narcissist, that's why I asked you. I typically don't deal with that. I mean, that's out of like my scope.
Right.
But I mean, if you're a narcissist, you think you're great and everything's great. So, I mean, being a covert narcissist, I guess, kind of goes against being a narcissist, right? Because you're getting self-doubt now, and you're worrying about, is it true? Is there something wrong with me? That's,
because it's more of a vulnerable type of narcissism. It's really weird. How about malignant narcissism? This is considered the most harmful form, combining aspects of narcissism with antisocial behavior, aggression, and sadism. Malignant narcissism are manipulative, exploitive, and often enjoy hurting others. They may also show paranoia and lack of remorse. I do know these motherfuckers.
Dude,
okay?
More than one person?
Oh, yeah.
Bro. So but see, for me, that sounds more like psychopath shit. That sounds like... It
sounds like any hate group.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Our people are the best. We're the best, and we need to eliminate these other people. It's any kind of hate group. So...
Right, so you're better than they are, and they shouldn't really,
you shouldn't be here. So.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Grandiose. Might as well go through all of them, right? This is the most recognizable form of narcissism. That's good. Grandiose narcissists are confident, assertive, and often arrogant. They seek admiration and tend to have a sense of superiority, entitlement, and a lack of empathy for others. Now, we do know, everybody in this room knows, that someone that has all of these.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So I'm assuming that narcissism, you can have more than one type. You can be all the above type of narcissism.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course, yeah.
I agree with that. I mean, like I said, we've all met people. We all know people.
Right.
Have heard of people.
I've seen people.
All of these things. You know
right.
what I'm saying? In some way, shape, or form.
They like talking shit about other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Making them, blowing them.
Right.
But it's to make themselves sound better. Like, oh, yeah, that person.
Right. So then for me,
and that would be more the bully type narcissist.
Right.
Well, it's like that. I think you put it up on one of your posts. It's like, leaders or don't put people down.
Right.
They lift them up.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're always putting, if I have to put you down in order to feel better about
to motivate me,
there's something wrong.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with me.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely the wrong path to go down.
Yeah,
right. And I guess like we use these negative qualities like in our everyday life. A lot of people listen. I guess I'm not a professional athlete, but I would imagine there's a lot of similarities between that on the field. Like
I'm sure, absolutely.
You have to have that self-confidence. You have to think that nobody can beat you and nobody's better than you.
But you also have to be humble too, and that probably makes it.
When the whistle blows, when the clock,
when you're in the moment,
zero, you have to go back to being a human being.
Right, and you hope that's what happens. But not a lot of them do, though. A lot of them are stuck in that. I'm higher. I'm better than everybody else.
A lot about that and he talked on podcasts and stuff like that is Mike Tyson.
You know what?
I love him.
It's funny. I was just going to give an example of as brutal as Mike Tyson used to be in the ring.
He is such.
What did he always do after the fight? He went and he hugged his opponents.
Right.
After he knocked them silly, knocked them fucking unconscious,
Yep.
and he would go and hug them to make sure that they were okay.
Yep.
Right. Even the ones that he said he was gonna eat their children.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
He would-
I remember that.
he would
That's
go-
all
I remember that.
You know,
He would go
the
and hug them
psychological
afterwards.
warfare.
Right.
But you know what?
Yeah.
It's good to watch him now because he's come to a place in his life where
that's
you
what
can
I'm talking
see it.
about.
What he talks about, right? He talks about he's humble. He's
very humble now.
He
It's crazy how humble
he is more aware, and he's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
He does a lot.
exactly.
He likes to eat a lot of shrooms. I saw him on a podcast where he just ate a handful of shrooms, just like.
Yeah.
Well, he's talked about he goes, oh yeah, he goes, I've gotten to that place before where my head blows up and I get all crazy. He goes, I gotta bring myself down. He goes, and that's what he's talking about. Also, he's doing coke too.
Right.
That's another story too, because that blows your head up.
But now he's so much level-headed, much he's
And
come.
he's had a tremendous amount of trauma. in his life.
And he's come far from where he was, and he knows. Like I remember watching him. They were talking about his belts. He had all the belts out. And the guy says, "Well, come on, you want all these belts?" He goes, "These are garbage.
Right.
They're garbage. They don't mean anything to me. They give me nothing but misery and all the shit that I went through my life." He was like, he wasn't as proud as you think he would be because of what happened while he was going through that time and everything was happening. It was it wasn't great all the time, So for him, he's had shit going on, and at the same time, he was, battling like that. You know?
But then that's the thing, though. I mean, I guess so. Here we're talking sports, athletes, celebrities. You have musicians that are just amazing.
Right.
Now, when they turn around and they're talking about, I've written this song, or they don't sign the autographs because would that really be considered narcissism, or just because they're tired of the fame?
Yeah, I think
they're higher than.
It gets to people after a while. To me, I always try to put myself in other people's shoes.
Right.
And I say, can you imagine going out to eat and people are bothering you when you're eating? Yep. That's the one thing I would never do to anybody if I saw another celebrity. If they're eating dinner, I know that's the thing. Don't bother me.
Don't bother me when I'm eating. Right.
You know what I mean? But
and you know what? I would never do that
in the street.
I would never do that.
People just approaching them in the street. They're just trying to get to where they're going. Mm-hmm. But I guess that comes to territory. But I think a lot of celebrities they know that they're going to be famous, but they don't know what it's like,
right?
Or they have an idea what it's
like.
The other thing,
right?
Yeah.
You should respect the people.
Listen, absolutely.
You see, when they're walking, people grabbing at them,
right?
I don't know how people do that.
I was never a big Justin Bieber fan. I didn't like him when he was younger. He was a kind of a jerk. But I've seen him older, where he's walking down the street and the paparazzi's in his face and taking pictures and all that stuff, and just real classy. He turns around to me, he goes, "Can I just go have dinner with my family? Can I go eat a meal?
Right.
Do we have to do this now?"
Yeah.
And really respectful. I increased my respect for him for that. But I mean, just imagine everywhere you go, people are just taking pictures, grabbing at you, just no privacy. So.
Yeah.
I remember walking through Manhattan, and you know where the MTV, where they play all the...
Yeah, Times Square.
Right. So I'm walking by that building, and Don King walks by me. Walking down the street. Mm-hmm. I go, Don King. He's like, hey.
Yeah.
And I just kept on walking.
Right,
I just said, I just was saying, yo, what, oh shit, Don King kind of thing, you know, and I didn't bother him. I just kept on going.
That thing bothers them so much. It's the stop and talk.
Right. Yeah. No, listen, they got to I don't want to bug this guy. And if I was in a restaurant, I would never do that. I would be like, oh shit, check it out. So-and-so's here. But I would never get up, interrupt them, bother them. Yeah. Do you mind if we meet kids? You know?
And you know what's funny? So I went a bunch of years ago. I went to Funkmaster Flex. He's a DJ, right?
Excuse me.
He had a car show, a celebrity car show.
Okay.
And I went out to go see. I went to a bunch of his shits. And I'm going to tell you what, all the celebrities that were there, the people, the fans were so like, "What's up? How you doing?" And it was it. Yo, good to see you. And that was it. Busta Rhymes was walking through the freaking, through the crowd, just hey, it wasn't even like he was out there hey, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't none of that. He was just chilling, hanging out with everybody. You know what I mean? Wycliffe is the most amazing person celebrity I've ever seen. He was like, "You know what? You, come here. Come sit in my car. I know, you don't make that, but you made me who I am. You come, sit on my
Oh, because you're the fans and everything.
Because
that's
you're
how
fans, you know what I'm
that's
saying?
how Kiss is. Kiss
And
is
that's
all about.
right. Yes, exactly.
They're all
And
about the
that's-
fans, man. They're
but
like, these
then-
guys put us here.
So
of
for
thing.
me, in the hip hop world, mostly the things that I've seen, I've been to concerts and like I said, at the car shows and walking in the street or whatever. Hip hop artists have actually been the most humble. Like they appreciate their fans. You know what I mean? They glad that you came to see them and whatnot. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone have narcissistic tendencies. And I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, you see some guys just, whether it's music or sports, some people just get it and realize that, like,
Right.
I gotta be good to people.
Sometimes it takes a little. Sometimes I guess maybe they may start out, but then eventually maybe something humbles them down the way, and they figure it out. They're not like that person, like Mike Tyson.
Right. The guys that stay afterwards and sign every autograph.
Yeah.
Right.
The kids that have
Right.
waiting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember one time years ago when Curtis Granderson was playing for the Mets, and we were before the game. We were down by the railing, waiting to take a picture, and they came over to him and said, "Oh, come on, Curtis, you gotta go. We gotta get going." He said, "No, hang on, there are more people here." And waited. There was like 10 more kids. He waited, took pictures and autographs with all of them and stuff like that.
That's great.
classic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they do that, that's great when they do that. But they
Shout out
also
to
have
Curtis.
they also have their private life when you don't, if they're going somewhere and they're running into a
Right.
building, you leave them alone. You don't bother with them.
Yeah.
Besides, I don't think I would feel comfortable doing that to somebody anyway. Just walking up to them and say, "Hey,
Yes, sir.
But I remember working as a doorman in Manhattan, right near the FDR. It was one of the buildings, and I remember only because we seen people. Reagan was in the car and drove by.
Yeah.
And they were waving and everything because people were standing waiting for them to come by and everything. So I remember seeing that because they closed the FDR down and he was going
So
wherever
he
whatever he was. Right, exactly. So it was pretty cool. I remember that day. That was pretty cool.
Dude, you stopped being a doorman? I would have stayed being a doorman.
Yeah, well, hey, I was
saying.
young and I had a lot of shit going on.
That's got to be, especially over there, bro. That doorman and
Yeah,
over there
back
in
then,
Midtown,
yeah.
bro. What?
Yeah, well, shit happens, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm just talking shit now because, certain things I would have loved to have been able to do. But anyways,
32B, 32J union. That's what it is, yeah.
That is great. Well, so again, I think that it just depends on the person. Correct me if I'm wrong, that they are just, it's not just what they do or how they are. They just, to me, being a narcissist is, borderline asshole.
Yeah, well, pretty much.
And it could be, how you're raised also. Like I said,
I concur.
Right, some people are just raised right, and their parents taught them to be polite and be respectful and appreciate how you got there, and others have taught you to be a jerk and do whatever you have to do. Climb over people and step on people to get to the top, and and don't care about what you doesn't matter who you step on. So
now, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You finish.
So, have you ever heard of anybody, I guess, who's saying, so I'm a super narcissist. Now something may have happened and now they just come down and they're just like, oh, snap. I'm sorry for being like that. And,
hey, that could happen.
I'm asking.
Have you ever...
Listen, I worked in recovery for 25 years. I mean, so yeah, you see a lot of people, who were top of the heap and got involved in substances and became addicted and hit rock bottom and through 12-step recovery programs got their lives back and became real grateful, changed who they are and how they treated people. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, see, that's cool, man. I mean, I guess it's like anything else. Lesson learned.
Yeah, I mean, we see that better.
Well, I'm sure that happened to all of us at some point, right? With something in our lives where we were like, all right, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah. So now, because we're those guys right here, not you so much, you're nicer than Lou and I, but so now, here we go, right? So now we believe on a regular, all day, every day, that when we're saying something to people, I'm right. Just trust what I'm saying and just go do it. Trust me, it's going to be that way. When we're right and was like, see, I told you, had you just done it from the beginning.
I don't think if it's naturally right.
My question.
No, I don't think that's how we really. I don't usually handle it that way. I think it's more like if let's say it's with my wife and I try to explain something to her and she doesn't understand. And I have to go through each step to make her understand, because, Tanya overanalyzes stuff, that's why I love her. But she's, not, and then when I go, she goes, oh, all right, I get it. I don't have that thing where I'm right and just trust me, kind of like, because I'm the, like a narcissism type thing, more of a, listen, I'm telling you, trust me, I'll do it. Like if there's something I need to fix or do something for her, when I do it, she's like, oh, okay, I get it. Just like, give me a second, watch me doing what I'm doing. I'm not, like, I'll explain it or I'll show you. I got an idea. I know what to do or whatever. Yeah. If it's something that needs to be repaired or anything like that. Or if I have an idea, but I don't think we're dicks about it, though.
I know I am. I'm not gonna make believe, like,
but why do you gotta lump me in with your shit?
Because I thought you were gonna say. I think it's different. That's why.
That doesn't mean you're a narcissist. That
right.
mean you're an asshole.
Okay, fair enough. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, okay.
Asshole.
I'm sure I could be.
Listen, sometimes we know our shit, right?
Right.
Like, if I tell you,
right,
this is gonna happen. Like, if you do this, this is gonna happen. The chances are it's gonna happen because I've done it 100 times.
Right.
I've seen it. I guess the difference between being 50 and being 20 is that I got 30 years more experience.
Right.
Right. Not that I'm smarter than you. I've just seen more.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've seen the same thing.
Yeah. So when you tell your kid, like, this is what's going to happen. This is what you got to do. This is what you got to do.
And you know what's funny about that, though? We're at that age now, right?
Yeah.
So when we were those people when we were younger, and people were saying, "Well, fuck you, I don't want to hear that shit." Yeah, whatever. And then you become that person because later on, hopefully in life, you gotten older, you got experience, you went through the hard, bad, and it rounded you to be a decent person, and now you're different than that person you were when you were like, yeah, whatever. Now you're like, no, really, listen to me. I want to tell you what's going on.
When you're younger, right? When you're younger, like I think like my first girlfriend, we were like standing behind like the school or something like that, and we were like smoking cigarettes, 17 or whatever. And this old lady passed out. She, you gotta be careful when you get older. You could have health problems. And we're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, right.
Mind your business, old lady.
She saw like a bunch of people get cancer or emphysema.
She's right.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
Right.
I think for me and my thought process on it all is, well, for me, like I said, just talking about myself, is because people have called me narcissist, and I'm laughing but I was there. So, I know.
Well, when it's something
that's just throwing around the term.
Yeah, right. They're just being an ass to you.
Because like, listen, doing one thing like that doesn't make you a narcissist. It just means that you're like really confident in what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, what is that? There's that.
And your information.
Saying, like, growing up, when I was younger, my parents were really stupid. It's amazing how much they learned as I got older. Right? We learn stuff. We learn from experience and we pass it on. But sometimes we got to realize that we've got to let the younger people in our lives make the same
go
mistakes,
through the same shit,
mistakes that we do, as long as it's not going to hurt them and it's not dangerous and they're not going to lose all their money or something like that.
Right.
It's okay to let our kids screw up now and then and learn from the consequences.
When I
I'm a hard
think
learner,
about it. I think about my kids. So Robbie.
Yeah.
I try when let's say there's something going on with his kid or something's going on, and first instinct is to give them help. To help them out, give them information. Say, hey, by the way, did you guys do this, do that? But I'm always conscious of the fact that I don't want to be that kind of person. So I'm like, listen, I'll do more like, listen, I'm just saying this not because I'm saying I'm right or anything. I just want to throw it out there in case you didn't try it yet. And then just explain what it is that I'm going about.
Right.
And it works. As usually it's the best way, because then we have a good conversation. He's like, yeah, Dad, I tried that. And then he'll go and then we'll laugh and I'll go, I remember when you were little or whatever was going on. And it makes the conversation easier than to try to say, all right, you're going to be stubborn. You're not going to listen to me. Forgetting now they don't want to listen to you because they're pissed off because you're just nagging them to death. Yeah. So I don't want to do that. So I try to not do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try to catch myself. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I just try because you want to have a good relationship with your children too. You don't want to be that dad that's like, if you just fucking did what I told you. Right. And I don't want to do that
every once in a while. You got to throw.
Oh, you know what? It's funny.
Every once in a while.
When the kids, there was a thing on social media the other night on being a gentle parent, gentle learning, right? And it was videos of the parents.
Right.
And one woman was saying, don't do that with the bucket. Alyssa would come on, stop, say, get your foot out of it. Like it was the third time. And then foot out, kid gone. I'm like, so for me, that's where we grew up. Because so you know that was a Gen X because that's what was said to us when we were growing up. And it works because, you try first. Mm-hmm. You're nice. You please don't. And then it's just a quick burst of a couple of words to kind of get your attention and say, hello. I only bring it up because when I think of my son, that's kind of stuff. But again, and I try not to interrupt when he's
explaining.
No, when he's doing something with his kids.
Oh, okay.
Like if they're with me, in front of me, again, first instinct is to kind of jump in and help, I guess, as a parent.
Okay.
Right? But they're not my kid. He's my grandkid.
Right.
They're my grandchildren.
Right.
But I'm thinking, you know what? This is their shit.
Exactly.
Whether I like it or agree or not, whatever it is, they have to figure it out on their own. So I try not to get involved, like what did daddy say? What did mom say?
And I think I think some grandparents kind of mess up on that one where they try to apply the same rules.
Right.
Like you, it's different.
Right. You gotta remember, you say, hey,
overstep their boundaries.
Mom and dad are here.
Right.
Yeah.
But then with that grandparents doing that, would that be considered narcissism?
Listen, we all, I'll quote like Liam Neeson, right? We all have our own special set of skills.
Right.
Yes.
And we're good at stuff. We're good.
Yeah.
You're good at some stuff. I'm good at stuff. You're good. We're all good at stuff. And when we get an opportunity to kind of flex on that, we're going to. Does that make us narcissists?
No, I don't think so.
Like we do shit good and we want to
share it.
We want to share the skills the same way. If I can't do something, right? Like I'm going to ask somebody that can. Like my friend is an accountant. He does my taxes because he's really good at it.
Right.
I'm not, right? And I'll help him with stuff that I'm good at, and all throughout the line with people. So I mean, that's different that's not being narcissistic. It's just utilizing the resources in your life, utilizing your friends. I don't want to use the word use because we're not using.
Right, no, you're reaching out.
We do stuff for the people that are in our lives that we love and we care about. Doesn't mean we're narcissistic. And when it comes to like our children or even our parents, as they get older, like sometimes we tell them stuff because it's the right thing to do, because what they're doing, is wrong. Like my mother clicking on links on emails. Like,
Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's
I was doing that with my dad too. I'm like, Dad, do not pick up the phone. Just let it ring. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Does that make me a narcissist?
No.
It means I'm protecting my mom because she doesn't know better at this point in time. Stuff like that.
Yeah, but what you said before too is that we're not narcissists in the sense like what you're saying, because we could reach out to people. We're humble enough to say, you know what, I can't figure this out. I got to call so and so to help me out.
Doesn't ask anybody for help.
Like I'll call my cousin Fred, or I'll reach out to Jerry.
Right.
Because these guys know their shit. Right. So if something's going on and I have to do something that I need to work on, I'll call either one of them and say, hey, this is going on. I kind of have an idea what's this, but you guys are a little bit better on this. So I would check with them. And I have no problem learning. Like if I don't know something, I'm going to say, hey, this is beyond my set skill. I'm not, I got to call somebody, or we may have to get a vendor in here or something. But at least you don't have ego to the point where, I'll figure it out, instead of being stubborn and just getting someone out there who can do it. And then they can maybe show you when they get there or whatever, and then for next time kind of thing.
That makes
just
sense.
learn from it.
That makes sense.
I think that's right. And at the same time, like Steve was saying, we share our knowledge, right? We hope we can, but we don't want to push it on anybody. We want to do it as nice as we possibly can. So that's why I was saying with my kid, that's what I would do,
But you're not going up to a stranger in the supermarket and saying, hey, let me just tell you something, what you should be doing.
Right.
That had a lettuce, you picked it up wrong.
Yeah, you picked it up wrong. You didn't check the seed to make sure.
Right, exactly.
Well, I will tell you, every time we have one of these groovy ones, I did realize, well, I guess I already knew I'm that borderline asshole.
I think we all are to some extent.
But I'm just saying, I just like,
we all have.
I am. My wife calls me, if I say something, I'm always a smart ass to her, right?
Yeah.
So, and she'll go, jerk. That's my nickname. That's when she does that, I smile.
Yeah.
I'm like, babe, just trying to make you laugh.
I love you.
But of course, she's not taking it that way.
Right.
But so yes, I think we all have that, right? I think, is it like, we all have each of those things, but we know how to balance them out the best that we can, kind of.
Even like the nicest, caring people that we think of, like we picture in the head,
right?
aren't they they're kind of like preachy to us in a different way, like, oh, you just have to let everything go, and you have to forget, and why don't you pray on that? I mean, all great advice, right? But it's the same thing as you kind of telling somebody in a demanding way how to do something. It's the same. We're just the
demeanor is different. Right?
It's just that's their expertise. That's their set of skills that they're good at, and you know, it's, you know, probably the thing to do is like listen to people every once in a while. Like we're not narcissists, so we know that we don't know everything. So we need to just be more open to suggestions and to trying new things and sharing our experience with other people and asking other people for help too, right? Whether it's people, you know, whether it's peers or whether it's older or younger people. Like, you know, I ask my kids for help all the time on stuff.
I do too. I call when it comes to certain things, I'm not ashamed to call my son and say, hey, if it comes to certain things with a 401k or other things or whatever it is, you know, that I know he's going to know. And I'm going to call him up and say, hey, bud, let's, you know, explain this to me. I heard this the other day on the radio and oh yeah, this is what it means, Dad. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. You know, in layman's terms. I'm like, listen, remember, I'm an idiot. So you have to talk to me in layman's terms because I will not understand, you know, like I tell that to my wife all the time too. I'm like, I said, you're a brainiac and I'm not.
Right.
So you need to like dumb it down so I can understand what she's like, yeah, jerk. That's what she said.
I want to get back. I used to, when people used to call me for appointments and stuff like that, I used to thank them for calling me because I said it takes a lot of courage to reach out when you need help. And just from being, and it's a poor excuse, but from being so busy, I've kind of lost that, and I got to get back to doing that.
Okay.
Because it really is like we need to be able to ask people for help. So.
I was just saying your mic.
So. Oh no, no. That's why I'm going back and forth with it. Yeah, it keeps rolling. But yeah, no. Listen, I think that, you know, I guess for us, when we question what narcissism is, those who are listening, now I understand better, you know, of what it is. Because I really, like I said, people tell me, you know, oh, you're a narcissist. What the fuck? Because I know what I'm talking about. Like, why are you so nasty about it?
No, I'm overly confident, and I express my opinions and beliefs without invitation. Yeah. So I'm an asshole.
I'm
pushy, but I'm not a narcissist.
But you're compassionate. I mean, you are. You look out for people. Like when something's going on, and you know, we've talked, and you look at the other side of things versus what, you know, saying that, you know, to try to be helpful. So at least that's a good thing, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not an asshole.
Yeah.
Well, but some people don't see it as such because I'm trying to look out for.
Well, it could be whatever's going on with them, bro.
And also, you're looking at the situation and where you're doing it. You're doing it at work, right?
Anywhere, like, you know, just anywhere. I do that. You know, like, oh, look out for this. You know, like even like so, boom, I'm at the store, or whatever, and I'll see something going on. So, you know, I'm like, hey, you know, yo, be careful. You know, something like that. Then it's like, some people appreciate it.
Some don't, yeah.
And some don't.
And some don't. And I get that too. You know, like today, I was going to get on to, I was coming from one of the houses we were working at, and the truck had to make a wide turn, 18-wheeler. So I made sure I turned out of the way.
Right.
You know, and he saw me do it. I'm like, oh, and I turned out of the way so he could make the wide turn. Nothing.
Right.
Zilch. Nada. He didn't give me. I was like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
They just scream it right out the window.
Just give a wave.
That's all you got to do. Nod your head. Nod your head. You know, like, thank you, you know. But that, you know.
But now, was he done with his turn?
Oh, he was already doing it. He was already.
Because sometimes it's like, you know.
No.
He was so like, boom. When I'm on the highway and I'm driving, I'll flash headlights of you know, for an 18-wheeler, so that this way he knows he can.
Right, do the same thing
to move in front of me.
I also put on my hazard lights. If let's say they let me go or something goes, I'll put my hazard lights on so they could see it blink twice,
right?
Or how many times it is. Thank you.
Right.
I try to do that too.
Yeah. I mean,
So we do think of the other things, you know, and we do have that point where, you know, if people get stupid, you're going to be an asshole.
So try and, you know, listen, that's just a way to live life, right? Try and be kind and courteous, say please and thank you, smile at people.
Exactly.
It's a good way to go about things.
I think so.
And listen, sometimes we don't. Sometimes people stand at the ladder machine and piss you off.
Exactly.
Or sometimes you're just going through and you forget, but just once you remember, do it again. Just be nice. Just try and be nice.
Yeah, definitely. But so again,
and don't don't kneel at the edge of the river and
right.
and look
Yeah,
and take
stare
a
at
drink.
Right, and then don't
Yeah.
stare at
Fall
yourself
in
all
love
day
with
long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how sexy you think you
Right.
are. You just gotta,
right.
you know.
Well,
get
before
that
we
in.
go, I want to do something. I want to shout out to Lola Hemp. I'm wearing your hat tonight.
Yeah.
All right, go to lolahemp.com.
Yeah.
They have the full spectrum CBD for dogs. They have different varieties. It's helped my Jeter out humongously. It was great. I mean, everything. He's just like a totally different dog. And I'm happy that I was able to talk with them and they guided me through that. So I wanted to do that for them tonight. So we also put their link on
the original episode. Yeah,
on the original episode.
Link on, so we linked it up.
So, so I wanted to do that first before we ended the show. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you being back
Thanks
here
for
hanging out
having
with
me.
us.
Again, I need a more comfortable chair.
we were going to work on that.
Yeah, it's
This
listen.
really hurt my ass.
Sorry about
We'll
that.
give you a cushion on the next one.
Right, exactly.
That's great. All right, so with that, thank everybody for listening, for watching, and all that other good stuff. Love, peace, and hair grease.
Live long and prosper.
Go vegan.
And let's go Mets. So.